BJP on Sunday suspended its national spokesperson Nupur Sharma and expelled its Delhi media head Naveen Kumar Jindal after the controversial remark against the Prophet Muhammad. The move came after the controversial remarks sparked a Twitter trend in the Arab world calling for the boycott of Indian products. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iran and Kuwait expressed condemnation of the controversial remark and called for the respect for beliefs and religion. Seeking to diffuse a diplomatic row, spokesperson of the Indian embassy in Qatar and Kuwait conveyed that the tweets do not in any manner reflect the views of the government of India and that these views are of fringe elements. So what is the reason that India cannot ignore the Gulf outrage? Here are the 5 reasons for it. The first is the Indians living in Gulf countries. The relation that bind the Gulf and India are based not only on trade and commerce but history and culture. Millions of Indians live and work in the Gulf nations. There are estimated 89 lakh Indian citizens in the Gulf countries. Indians make up 1/3 of the UAE's population. Indians also have business connections with these countries, which has recently become more stronger. Some of the major retail stores and restaurants in the Gulf countries are owned by Indians. So the calls to boycott Indian products could hit businesses owned by the Indians. The second reason is the trade. For example, United Arab Emirates is India's 3rd largest trading partner, just after United States. UAE is India's 2nd largest export destination. India and UAE bilateral trade was valued at $72.9 billion in 21-22, with India's export accounting to $28.4 billion. Under the recently concluded Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, the total trade will reach $100 billion by 2026. This is something that India cannot lose. On the other hand, the Gulf states also rely on India. Gulf region is especially reliant on food and cereal imports. Over 85% of their food and 93% of the cereal are imported. Rice, buffalo meat, spices, marine products, fruits, vegetable and sugar are key exports from India to the Gulf nations. UAE is also an aviation hub. The aviation industry of Gulf countries rely heavily on Indian flyers. The advent of the global transit hubs in Gulf serviced by the local airlines such as Emirates, Etihad Airways and Qatar Airways has reduced the share of the lucrative international trade market held by the US and Indian based airlines earlier. For example, before the pandemic hit the country in March 2020, Emirates operated 170 weekly flights to 9 destinations in India, including Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. Let's come to the 4th point, remittances. Around half of the remittances to India come from just 5 Gulf countries. Kerala has the highest percentage of remittances, while Delhi's share has risen in recent years. On the other hand, UP and Bihar have also experienced substantial growth in recent years. The 5th and one of the most important one is the crude oil imports from the Gulf country. The Gulf supplies over 60% of India's crude oil need. India imports a significant amount of crude oil from Gulf countries to meet its energy needs and for strategic and security reasons. Hardeep Singh Puri, India's petroleum minister, told Parliament in March that the country consumes 5 million barrels of oil per day, with 60% of that coming from the Gulf. So these are the 5 reasons that India cannot ignore the Gulf outrage and had to take steps to mitigate this. Thanks for watching.